Is a top sales guy, pro in the space, top manager, and many other things. So take notes, guys, and at the end you can ask any kind of questions that you may have about sales or anything in general. Mr. David, first of all, where are you calling from today?
Yeah, I'm in Maryland, down in America, or over in America, I guess.
How long have you been there for?
Whole life.
Uh, I know JD, he was a special guest 2 months ago. He mentioned you were in Austin together, right?
Yeah. We went to the Zero Sales event last year and met in September.
Oh, yeah, a few of the members were also there. How was it?
It was it was okay. I would say that like we got like a huge mansion at like 15 people in it, and so like honestly, it was a little bit more fun in our house than at the event.
That's good stuff to hear. So tell us first of all, like, how did you end up in sales in the first place? Why sales?
Yeah. So I did real estate marketing for the first 10 years of my adult life. Kind of got scammed into insurance sales to like start out. I don't know if you guys ever heard of like Nut Freak, but like he was like selling life insurance, like $400 packages to get people in life insurance, and you'd get in, and it was all fake. Essentially, you could do it, but like you'd pay like $200 a lead. So like when you get in there, and then like, oh yeah, just go to like old people homes. Like you can just like go to retirement homes and do like webinars and like I'm not doing this shit. So from there, I went into ecom. I did really well in ecom. I met David Mendez. He was the top closer for Brooks from ecom. If you guys remember that brand, I don't know if he's still like doing numbers or not. And then through David, I met Dylan, and then I got in like serial sales, and so like technically I was in serial sales actually before I even like entered the high ticket space. I like So yeah,
Yeah,
that was in like July 2023. And since then, I've done $2 million cash collected as a setter, 750,000 as a closer, and just over 6 million as a manager. So
nice, nice. How long have you been a manager for?
on and off, probably all together, it's been like probably like 7 months.
Nice stuff, nice numbers. And tell me, what would you say is the biggest difference between just being a rep and a manager in mindset and in general?
Constantly looking for improvement. It's like as a rep, it's really easy just like watch your own calls and like work on getting better. But like as a manager, especially right now, I'm managing 4 offers. So like I'm like constantly like looking at everybody's calls, looking at the setters, looking at the closers, looking at the marketing, looking at the webinar we just ran, and like how can we do this better? It's like managing never ends. It's 24/7 all the time.
Definitely. Now we have here 24 reps, I think, 95% of the call, and people who will be watching this. So tell us, how can a rep impress you when you see a loom, a CV, or outreach or whatever? What are
Yeah.
the do's and don'ts?
Yeah, it's funny. That's what I thought I'd spend the most time on today. Is I think one of the
Uh,
biggest weak points in the space right now is interviews. I think everybody kind of interviews the same way. And I'll tell you guys, like I've landed jobs that like I didn't deserve against people that were like better than me because I interview better. And so one of the biggest things with interviews, it's generally when you get into an interview and it's like, hey, what's your goal? You hear everybody say like some combination of the same thing, like, oh, I want to make money, I want to be a closer, I want to move into management, I want to like this. It's like all these milestones instead of like actual answers. And so like one of the coolest things, it's like when you're in an interview and someone goes like 2 or 3 layers deep, that like really sets you apart. So like if I get in and they say like what's your goal, it's gonna be like, like I want to come in and compete. I want to be the top rep on this team. I want to compete against better people. I want to find like bigger and better people over and over again and then still prove I'm the best. I want to create things that people know for a long time. I want to create a legacy. I want to, there's like so many like really deep answers. And if you can actually like, so when you're interviewing, the person interviewing you is essentially they're trying to judge your characteristics and who you are as a person based off of your answers. So you should think about every single answer in the way that it conveys yourself to the person that you're speaking to. And if you can learn answers that convey exactly who you want to show you are, you will land 100% like more jobs. That's like one of the biggest things like no one ever talks about.
and what are some of the don'ts?
Surface level answers, man. I mean, like if you're in a group interview and 4 people give the exact same answer, like you're already done, essentially. It's like, you know, I'm a big believer. I mean, look at my background. It's like very basic for even who I am. I mean, I am working on a custom office to be fair. But I don't really believe in like backgrounds and stuff as long as it's clean, as long as you look good, as long as you speak well. But like, so like the biggest thing always just is like don't be everybody else. Be yourself. Be authentic. Have people pick you because they like you, not who you try to perceive yourself to be.
And what is your take on this? And guys, you can also type in the chat, have any questions or have something you want to share. On a group interview, should you be the first one or the last one?
One or the other. Never be in the middle. First or last. If you're first, have like a really, really great answer. But like if you have an answer that you know is unique, and you wait till last, like something I like to do is like when I know like the whole question, everyone's going, I'll just lean back in my chair and like get really relaxed. Where like it looks like I don't care at all, and it's my turn. I like square my shoulders and then give like a really. But if you do that and someone takes your answer first, and you don't have a really good answer, now you look like a jackass, and it's like not great. So like.
Nice, nice. And tell me, let's say somebody's on offer right now. How can they improve? How can they be the number one? Number one, what is a seller, manager, or a closer?
I think it depends. I think the first thing is just identifying your weaknesses. I'm a big believer that like first thing in the morning you should listen to your best call, and then in the day before you get off you should listen to like one or two like throughout the day. And the reason you do that is to see like what mistakes you made, and then the next day when you start that, focus on those two mistakes all day. Listen to your calls. If those two mistakes are gone, move on to something else. If they're still there, still work on them. So like it's always a step process, right? It's like identify your weaknesses, figure out where you're weak at, make a game plan of how you're going to fix it, and then work on that every single day until you fix it, and then just repeat over and over and over again. And so like to me, that's kind of mixed in with I believe that you should have higher standards for yourself than any job could ever have for you. So like when I was a setter, I came in on a setting team I'd never set before. I was like, I want to be the top setter. I'm gonna have a 75% show rate, and like all my sets are gonna close. And like by the time I hit my own standards, I was lapping everybody else.
And how come that you always get an offer like this, like very fast? Whenever I check, boom. What sets you different aside from the interviewing skills? What would you say?
Networking. I did a lot of networking when I was young. Not young, but when I was younger in the space, when I had more time. You never know who the person next to you is going to be. I mean, someone in this call right now, you guys are on the same boat. A year from now, someone in here managing one of the best teams in the world, and you guys knew each other. And so, like, a lot of networking, a lot of helping people, getting in with recruiters. If you send reps to recruiters all the time, recruiters start to remember who you are. Then they start sending you good jobs. So, like, essentially for me, I don't really even interview and apply for jobs anymore. When I'm a free agent, I like text a couple of people, and people send me jobs. And I just like kind of pick. And like that's the goal. The goal was to get inbound jobs eventually, to where like you're getting headhunted 24/7. The best opportunity is always presented to you.
Definitely, definitely. If somebody has any question, you can raise your virtual hand or drop it in the chat.
Yeah,
So
I'm willing to talk about setting, closing, managing, anything you guys want today. So,
what are some of the do's and don'ts aside in networking? Like, what is networking for you?
give value. Don't just ask for things. Everything that you attend, make sure that there's something that you can give them, and don't ever ask for anything back, because then at some point it actually builds like real connections, and when you need something, now you can like spin that token, so to say, when you actually need it. So like the biggest thing is just going in and giving value all the time. Like I said, I never asked for $1 for a rep. I never asked for anything outside of jobs. And every time I did something, I made sure to do it to the best of my ability, so that it was a good taste in the person's mouth that I spoke to.
Definitely. And recently you formed your own community. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's still pretty small. We're actually in the middle. I'm like revamping it currently. I thought when I first did it, I was going to do like people new to sales. I realized that the people coming into sales have very unrealistic expectations, and they're also pretty entitled. And like I didn't love where I was at in that time, so I'm kind of currently changing it more into helping struggling sales reps get to where they want to go. So a little bit about that. I do 2 weekly calls. One is setting all the time. I think 50%, 60% of people in sales is still like stuck in setting. And you're stuck in setting because you're learning word tracks, not sales processes. And so like you never actually gain the skills to become a closer. You just like relapse forever. And you might become a closer for one, and then it's not a very good role when you're back to setting again. And that's like 50, 60% of reps, I think. So like I always do setting calls and like beginner calls, but then I also switch between a management call and a closing call once a week, where I do like a call review or talk about this stuff. I think that this is always the biggest thing that I have to give to people. It's that I know a lot of the inner workings, how things are behind the scenes that you don't know until you're there.
And what's your take? Should you work on 2 offers, 1 offer, 5 offers?
Find the
Everybody's
best
different.
offer you can get, make as much money on it as possible. Max yourself out there and then go to another one. If you have to take 2 offers, it's probably the problem actually is that your network's not built enough to give yourself the best offer. And so like it's a problem in of itself. It's like if you had the best offers available, would you need 2 offers?
That's interesting. Interesting way to look at it. Also, time zone. You're fortunate enough to work, from US to
It's
with
true. I
US
tell you
clients.
though, my top closer that just did 35K this month's in Asia. He works all night. He did $35,000 in 14 days.
Yeah, and also, yeah, now you're working with Jake right now, right?
Yeah, I'm the account manager for automated revenue currently.
Nice. And tell us, you made, if I got it right, 390K collected in a week on a new launch, right? Something
Yeah,
like that.
we ended up doing $500,000 for the month. We launched on the 8th from $0.
That's crazy stuff. And tell us, like, what do you think differentiates you from the other management, other services, other guys?
So I'd say this offer is kind of a unicorn. I'll take partial credit because I designed a lot of stuff, but like this would have been a successful offer without me. I think they could have done 250, 300 without me. But a couple of things. I mean, I talked about my top closer that did insane numbers. That's directly because of my network. I mean, like not only have I, built one way into jobs and everything else, but I've also built up my pipeline of amazing closers and amazing setters and amazing managers and everything else that I've met along the way. That like now when I get these jobs, I can staff a full team of like top 1%ers, and like that's doesn't happen very often. So like I built this team in 4 days. It's got 4 setters with over $1 million in cash collected and 250% closers on it. Like our lowest close percentage on this is legitimately 48%. And like that's so, I was able to build a really, really cool sales team that like in a really short amount of time, most people don't have access to something like that. But then at the same time, this was a really good offer. He's got 750,000 subscribers on YouTube. He was selling a 50K offer before. We really just condensed it to move to the public. And then we ran a 3-day $100 challenge. And so we made like really hot leads, got him really invested, put him against a really good sales team. It was going to be really hard for it not to fail. And like I built the webinar and everything. So like it was all built together literally to print money at the end. And so like, it's kind of a 50-50 where like I said, it's a unicorn. Like I think this does $1 million a month by March.
Nice stuff, nice stuff. You also can drop I think your community is in school, right?
Yeah.
You can drop the link in the chat. In the meantime, Mr. Daniel, you have a question. Feel free to ask.
What's up, David? Nice to meet you, brother.
How's it going?
Good, man. Quick question. How do you provide value when networking when you have little to no experience?
Just find something outside of the sales that you're good at. So like maybe you get good at networking. Let's say that you meet a couple of recruiters and they offer you a job you don't take. Can you find a good rep for those jobs and help them out? That's value. Let's say that you get to a setting role and you get 10 sets right away, and you're like, man, this is pretty easy. Help your other setters to do what you're doing to where they're doing good. Now that's value. You can add value in a lot of different ways, man. It's like it doesn't have to be sales related. Find what you're good at that like a lot of other people aren't good at, and find a way to offer it to people in a way that helps.
Yeah, cool, man. Thank you.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. I know what you're saying because sometimes I do know people in the field and I do refer them. But when you're in the very beginning and you have like 0 to no experience, and I
Yeah, like I
speak,
said, I would meet as many people in here as you can. Start doing like, just reach out. Hey, do you have time to connect today? Meet a ton of people in here. There's probably really good sales reps, new sales reps in here. Then when you see a job post, you can say, hey, you told me that you were looking for a setting role at 5K. Here this is. And now if that rep goes and crushes, now that builds the network for the rep, but it also builds the network for the recruiter that posted the job for you. And so like that's something that you don't need any experience at all for. You just have to take the time to meet people.
yeah, you'll be proactive.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you, brother.
Plant the seeds, man. Plant the seeds. Mr. Justin.
Yo, how you doing? Is it good morning or good afternoon for you?
It's morning.
Oh, it's afternoon for me because I'm in Eastern time. Got a quick question. What makes a sales rep a 1%, and how do you identify them?
It's talent and work ethic. A lot of sales reps have one or the other. Either they have a lot of talent and so they don't try as hard, they'll take less calls, they'll like rely on skill, or they know they're not as good, so they take 10 to 12 calls a day. You know, if you can take 10 to 12 calls a day and close really high, you'll 100% make 40, 50K. It's just that simple. It's that once people start to get really, really good, they start to get lazy. And so, like, it's just keeping that work ethic that you started with when you knew that you didn't have the talent all the way through until you're actually closing at that high level. And then at that point, when you can do both, you'll start to see the real money.
Okay. No, yeah, because I kind of fell into that trap too of getting lazy after getting good. So I 100% agree with that. But I guess in my case, when you're doing an interviews, right off the get go, how do you kind of identify, hey, this guy top of 1%? Is it like, does conviction matter or does the goals matter?
Really
Or
a
just
feeling,
numbers?
man. Like, generally, when you meet somebody as a manager, I know if I like you or not in the first 10 seconds. Everything else is just confirming what happened in the beginning. It's like when you come in and like the way that you carry yourself and the way that you speak and like what you say, all of that tells me enough that like I probably have a pretty good feel of where you are immediately. And then it's just like really figuring out if you're a good culture fit or not after that.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
Cool. Mr. Matt, Lord is yours.
Nice to meet you, David.
How's it going?
Double barrel question, but that's just come to my head after Justin's just asked that question. So, in the first 10 seconds, how do you come across as that person? Or what would you expect to see in that person?
I think it's mostly confidence in how you speak, man. I mean, like when you show up and you're confident and like if you can talk to me, it's just like a person, right? Let's say that I get in there and they're like, hey, how are you doing? It's like completely casual. It's probably because they're not in a position where they feel like they look up to me, where they see us as equals. And if they see us as equals, they've probably done stuff of their own.
Mm. Yeah, okay, I see. And second question then, more about just time management. Like I know you mentioned you're managing 4 offers right now. Like how do you manage your time effectively? And how many hours are you working a day?
So it really depends. When we launched the offer the week of January 8th, I did 70 hours in 1 week. I worked 14-hour days, all 5 days. We were working 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. every single day as a team to build everything really quickly. Once you have these things built, though, the cool thing with management is you can kind of take a step back and it just becomes a game of like seeing where you can improve. And so, like at this point, I'm probably working like 20, 25 hours a week. But those 20 to 25 hours are all like head in the books, like figuring everything out, like really, really hard work. And so it kind of fluctuates with management. That's the cool part. It's that sometimes you're in build mode where like it requires a lot. And then sometimes you're just keeping the ship steady and you can kind of take a step back. And like I've been building like AI tools and stuff to help in the meantime. And I have time for that because we've got to a spot where it's built. And I think that's how sales is as a whole. It's like there's times for sprints and then there's also times, to take it a little bit easier. And it's like I think part of the game is knowing when to do those two things.
Perfect, thank you.
Yelena,
Hey everybody, hey David, nice to meet you. I have a question. Maybe you shared this information at the beginning of the call. I was a little bit late, so I'm curious, for how long have you been in sales? That's the first part of the question.
Since July 2023.
2023. Okay, so let's say in these couple of years that you have been in sales, like what is the biggest difference that you see when you were starting with sales and I guess now what's happening? Because we see and we hear a lot about, the industry is changing. People are more skeptical as buyers, all of that. The funnel has to be longer. There has to be more, trust building and all of that. So I'm curious to hear what is your experience with that and what is the one piece of advice you would give to a closer, how to overcome these challenges maybe that arose, I guess, in the last couple of months, if not year.
Sure. So I think that one's actually, it's like a really obvious answer, but at the same time, it's not. So like when I was first getting into sales, the person you heard the most about was Cole Gordon. And Cole Gordon kind of came and he built a system that kind of used emotional pulling and everything to get buyers to buy. and like it was brand new and it was amazing and like it took the world by storm. Most people in the high ticket space now have been exposed to cold Gordon. You speak to most people that's even just like on a sales call and they know who cold Gordon is. That's bad for sales, by the way. So the first thing that offset that I think was Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh came in and they started doing objection handling. They stopped focusing on getting the sale up front and moved to getting the sale in the back. And now we're kind of seeing that cycle start, the cold Gordon cycle, where now prospects are also used to being objection handled, and that also doesn't do anything either. So it's kind of back and forth now, and I think really the answer is just being a real human being. I say a lot that like the top people in sales, in my opinion, they solve the most problems. So like in a sales call, the discovery is to show them that they have a problem, that they need to make a change about that problem, and then to show them that your solution is the best solution for them. And if you do that on every single call, you do it with a spot of caring, you get to a point really that the more people you help, the more money you make. And so like I think we've just gotten to a point that it went through sales process, all the way back to the beginning again, where we're back to just trying to help people.
I love that. That makes a lot of sense. And I see that, when I was starting, I think it's been over 3 years now. I feel the same. It's like we were all crazy about training and scripts and objection handling and whatnot. And now it's like, you have to adapt again and go back to the beginning, which is how it should have been all this time, right? But look, sales coaches have got to make their money as well, which is all good. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously there's still good ways to do it, right? Sales coaching is not dead. But at the same time, if you can combine sales coaching and techniques with like the genuine want to help people, those are the top 1%ers in my opinion. It's like the emotional EQ is there to where they can make good decisions and help people, but they're also highly trained and they know how to handle a lot of things. Because at the end of the day, sales is hard. It's like it's easy, but it's hard at the same time. But to take someone that like just heard about you 2 hours ago and convert them for $10, $15, $20,000, it's hard. You have to do everything correctly. And you also have to build the trust. But because so many people went through so many funnels and everything, now if you can build the trust, it's 50% of the battle.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you so much.
100%.
Who do we have next? Mr. Daniel.
David, you mentioned that the best sales closers are the ones that solve the most problems. To be able to get there, you have to bring your value. You have to become better and better and better. I noticed that one of your approaches is to review your own sales coach and start tweaking and fixing your areas of opportunities. What other areas have you figured out along your journey to raise your value, to raise your capacity to help other people?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing is just really the want to help, right? Like I said, when you talk to a lot of sales reps, you'll say, like, what do you want to do? And they'll say, I want to make $10,000. But who do you think makes more money? The people that wants to make $10,000 or the person that wants to help 10,000 people? And so like that's like just the first thing. It's just mindset with sales. I think a lot of people get into sales for the money, but like all of the people I know that make the most money, they don't even care about the money. They like just literally want to do like really cool shit. And like the more cool stuff that you do, the more money you make. It's like a literal like 1-to-1 ratio. And so half of it's mindset. And then as far as like the actual skill set and stuff, I mean like talking naturally with confidence, being able to build trust in what you say. I mean, just like this, you guys have been talking to me with 25 minutes and I know Philip introduced me, but being able to sit up here and talk about all this stuff in a way that's confident, that makes you guys feel confident, that's part of the skill. And like, if you can do that with anybody you meet, that's already like, you're on your way. And then at that point, it's like, okay, well, like, am I getting hung up on in my introduction as a setter? Okay, my intro probably needs work. It's probably confidence. Am I getting the whole conversation, not getting sets? Well, I'm probably not pitching very well. I'm not showing that I can solve their problems. It's a lot of different things like that. And the same thing with closing. If you feel like you're doing a great discovery, but you're not getting closes, well, you're probably not pitching very well. If you're not even getting there, they're saying they're not interested in the middle of the pitch. Well, you probably didn't make them feel like you cared in the discovery. It's like, it's always just like back and forth of like, where are you getting stuck and what could be the potential problems from that point of the call?
There's a constant self-reflection, constant self-feedback.
Yeah, and I mean, the biggest part of it is if you don't have a sales coach, you need to be able to be like really brutally honest with yourself. If you're like lying to yourself and protecting your ego, you never get better. And so like you either got to hire someone to be an asshole and tell you that you suck, or you have to be able to be really honest with yourself, say like, man, this wasn't my best call, this wasn't good. What can I do to fix it? And so like those are the other like two things. And a lot of people hire sales coaches because they can't be honest with themselves.
Yeah. Good stuff, brother. Thank you.
Mr. Justin,
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. What you just said. You have to be an asshole to each other, to actually grow. There's two kind of things I wanted to touch on. One, I can't help to notice, but I feel like your sales style. Do you know Taylor Welch? Do you listen to Taylor Welch?
I know him, but like this is gonna sound crazy, but I have almost no like actual sales training. Like everything that I do is from like psychology of people.
Yeah, because mainly, because I'm reading this book recently. It's called Winning at Sales by Taylor Welch, and legit everything you're talking right now is everything that's stated in this book. So I couldn't help but notice. Oh shoot, it's so like everything that you just mentioned is yeah stuff I've been learning and through a book called Principles, as well as you mentioning that you gotta know that your shit and to not protect your ego. So yeah, I was just curious if that was one of the things that's you were learning from, but good to know that everything's through psychology. My second question really is one that I kind of always ask. It's, do you think that objections are just symptoms that you don't cover in the discovery, or is there something else entirely?
It can be. And so like, a lot of my best closes were completely objection closes. When I did 750K as a closer, I did it in 10 weeks. And I would say that 80% of my closes were objectionless. And so like, in my opinion, if you can get something with closing that people talk about a lot is if you ask people what is discovery for, some of the answers you'll get is like to get the right information, to stack ammo for objection handling, to they'll tell you a lot of different things, but it's really none of those things. Your discovery is to make the person across from you understand that they have a problem. If they don't even think that they have a problem yet, how would your solution possibly make sense? And so like, the first part of your discovery is making them understand they have a problem. And the second bit is making them understand they need to do something about it right now. Then all you have to do is when you pitch, show them that your solution fixes their exact problem. And so like if you do those three things at a high level every single time, you'll get a lot less objections. But objections are problems now coming up. Maybe in your pitch you went over too much stuff. You got really into the logistics and stuff. Now they have questions. And they're like, oh, no, this is too much. I need to think about it. So like now they're saying, hey, you overwhelmed me. Can you go through this? And so like, in my opinion, objections are problems and closers aren't closers. They're high performing problem solvers. Solve that problem and you'll have a close.
Okay. Now another question just sparked up to me as well. When you mentioned earlier that you gotta help as much people as possible. Now there's a big misconception. This is what happens when I do calls and role plays, is that people think that being helpful to the person is just being nice to them the entire step of the way. So do you believe that in order to help the other person on the call, you have to show, I don't like to say aggression, but like benevolent, I like to say benevolent aggression, because it's like you're showing them tough love. Do you think that's necessary to kind of guide them to take the next step to help them out, or like to show a little tough love to the prospects, or what's your thoughts on that?
Be kind, not nice. It takes a level of kindness, of like wanting to help them and helping push them as a coach, but you don't want to be nice. There's a difference. If you're too nice, you're essentially customer service, but it should still come from a place of kindness.
Okay. No, yeah, cause I usually, when I hop on calls, there's like those types of benevolent aggression, like be nice and be kind. Yeah, it's I wanted to kind of get a good understanding of, when you believe like when you're showing tough love with the prospect and make it like holding them reliable, like when is it to the point that hey, maybe I should calm down a bit, like not go too deep on them, because I
I
also had
don't
that mistake
I don't
before.
know that you ever have to do that, man. I think that it's a lack of confidence maybe for it. So like I'm stern the whole time, right? Be a coach, just like I am to you guys, right? You guys don't feel like I'm like beating you, but I'm telling you that you need to get better and work on your egos. Be a coach. Show them that you can help them, that you're in a position to help them. Be in control of the call. Be relaxed, even when they're losing their cool, when they're emotional. Lean back. Show them that you see it all the time. It's like it doesn't need to be from a place of getting too deep. It just needs to be kind and relaxed, composed, and the exact person they need to help them. A lot of these people are making huge decisions for the first time. Be the person they need you to be.
Okay.
Also, Justin mentioned some books. Do you have any books that you recommend, personal development or sales wise?
Only one, and that's Sleight of Mouth, and you can't get it on. You have to get a physical copy. It's like a $30 book. It's a physical copy. That's one of the best ones. Actually, I'll do two, and then there's also 101 Secrets to the World Class, and it's almost like it's like Bible almost, where like every morning there's 101 of them. Wake up, read one of them, and then practice that all day long, and just do it for the full 101 days. At the end of that, if you practice them all the time and you just keep stacking, you'll turn around. You're a totally different person.
Who wrote the first book?
I don't remember. Let me see.
Or I can pull up the Amazon or whatever online. Sleight of Mouth. Okay.
Yeah, if you look it up, it'll come right up. It's Robert Dilts.
Okay, yeah. 4.7 out of 5 stars. Yeah, it must be a great book.
I got that one
Let's
from
see.
Simple Nailer himself. It was a great book. So,
Mr. Aryan.
Hey David, how's it going? Hello guys.
how you doing?
So yeah, I just a question came in my mind because usually get these on interviews like why should we choose you? So I'm gonna ask David, why as a closer I have to work with you and you as a manager?
Sure. I started playing competitive Call of Duty when I was 13 years old. I was playing professional by the time I was 15, which makes me probably one of the most competitive people in the world. And so, like, the only thing that I care about is if my name's attached to it, to be the absolute best that does it. If I'm not the best, I'm not happy, and I'll keep going until I am.
Cool. Love it.
Any other questions? Yeah, if you have any other questions, yeah, feel free to ask. Mr. Matt, you're next.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, you've probably been in a lot of good offers, a lot of rubbish offers. So when do you know you found a good offer, and when do you know you found a not so good offer?
So if other people are making money there, even some, okay, let's say like I believe I'm a top 1%, and I get there and they're making 10K a month, but I think that they're like 60th percentile closers. I could probably do 20. I'm better than them. So like if they're making, it depends. Again, it's like ego and like knowing what you really are right now. So like different offers do different things. You know, maybe you come into an offer and you're not making very much money, but you're not very good, and there's someone there you can learn from, and you can get really good from them. Still a good offer. Let's say that you're already really good and you get there and they're not making a lot of money yet, but you can help them make more money. Probably still a good offer. It's going to boost your resume a lot. So like, I actually think the misconception is what a good offer is and knowing exactly what you need. If you need training, find somewhere that you can be trained. If you need to make money, find somewhere that you can make money. If you are trying to build a resume, go somewhere that you can make a difference. You know, there's actually a lot of good offers depending on what you need. You know, some of the things that created what I am today, I made no money for. You know, I helped build Springs Rejuvenation for Cole Gordon in January of 2024, and I made like $9,000 for doing it. But I got to have it on my resume that I built $0 to $1.2 million in 7 weeks. So like I knew going in that it was just a resume builder, and like that's okay. And so like I think identifying what you actually need and then finding an opportunity that can give you that.
Yeah, providing value rather than money.
Like I said, I mean, sometimes you just don't need money. Sometimes you do. So like if you need money, find somewhere where other people are making money. If you need to get better, find somewhere that has people ahead of you. If you need a resume builder, find somewhere that you can get in and make a difference.
For sure. Makes sense. Thanks.
Mr. Danilo.
Hi, David. Glad to speak to you finally. I actually have a couple of questions, but let's start with the first one that is kind of bothering me maybe too much. My background, you know, what I do to pay the bills until I find a opportunity here in high key closing or maybe setting. I've been doing, you know, customer service jobs, and now I'm on level 2. I'm speaking only to engineers, but still I was trained for several years to really be nice, be good, and considerate. But I heard also from you that if you're too nice to the prospect, obviously you're going to be customer services because, you know, as a closer, you need to be something else. So I was trying to ask you maybe to give me some tips or advice. How should I switch that in my mind to really transition into closer and not be stuck into being nice, let's say, all the
Do
time?
you feel like in your life you're also too nice?
Not really. I try to be polite, but I don't consider myself too nice.
Okay, then just be who you really are, not who you're trained to be. It's a whole different story if you feel like because of who you are at work, it like infects your life and you're too nice all the time. Then it's a personal problem that you need to like address and like work and overcome. But if you feel like you're only too nice at work, it's really easy. Just don't be your customer service person and be authentic to yourself and then build up a new skill set.
That's actually pretty good, just to be yourself. And I have another question. For the past several months, I'm literally applying anywhere. Even though I want to be a closer, this is something I find myself in. I can see myself doing that really good. But because I don't really have any concrete experience, I'm also applying to setting, and I would also like to even start from there. However, I managed to see that for some reason I constantly get ghosted, skipped over, or maybe not even set for interviews and stuff like that. So I was wondering how can I really make myself stand out to be presentable, at least to get my foot in the door, and then from there on I will see, apply my skills, etc.
Just like we were talking about with call reviews, it's the same thing. If you're finding that you're not even getting interviews, your loom probably sucks. If you're getting interviews but not getting jobs, you probably suck at interviewing. If you're getting jobs and you're getting fired quick, your skill set probably sucks. And so like identify like where you're actually having the problem and then really just focus on that thing. So if you're not getting interviews, learn to shoot a better loom. Looms should be authentic. They should show who you are. They should show that you know how to speak. They shouldn't be scripted. You shouldn't sound like a robot. You shouldn't be trying to portray somebody. If you're in interviews, you're probably giving one level surface deep answers that suck that everyone else is giving. It doesn't make you stand out. It sucks then. So like it always starts with figuring out where your problem is instead of just looking at it as a whole. So like you came and you said, how can I stand out? Well, where do you even want to stand out first? Right? It's like maybe you're crushing the interviews that you do get, but like you just haven't had enough of them. So your loom sucks. Maybe you're getting a ton of interviews, but you don't get jobs and you need to work on your interviews. So always start with self-reflection and seeing like where you need improvement in the first place.
So kind of step back to see where I'm failing in order to have a step forward.
Yeah, man, it's really hard to get better when you just say, broadly, I want to get better. What do you want to get better at?
Yeah, I understand. And I can see other hands raised, but just a quick one. Do you have a few tips like what should be in that loom to be really presentable and what should be excluded, for example?
So Phil's going to disagree with me heavily on this one. I know this. Just like he told me to, really dress up. And I told him to wear a button up. Really, you guys are lucky you did this. My hair looks like this because I've been wearing a beanie every day for the last 2 months. So I'm a big believer in your looms and interviews dressing like you're going to a nice club. So like you should be presentable, but you should be confident. So like whatever outfit you wear that makes you feel like the absolute tippy top of your confidence, that's what you should wear when you're presenting yourself. Because the number one thing that you need to show on all of these is that you're confident, you know how to speak. Especially if you're looking to become a setter, because on setters, right, you don't need to close, you don't need top tier talent, but you need to know how to naturally communicate. And so like if you have confidence, if you have a good foundation and you know how to speak, those are probably the top 3 things to actually land good setter roles. Then closing, it's all different. Closing, you need a skill set and everything else. So like you need to be able to convey the skill set. But like that should come later. After you're landing top tier setter roles, you can start saying like, okay, like now what skill set do I need to become a top tier closer?
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Any other question, Dan? Did you have? All right, or Mr. Lucas.
Yo, hey, how's it going, David? Yeah, my question is like, what would be your advice for someone like me who's like 18 years old? I still go to school. I started my sales journey like 6 months ago. What would be your advice for me to be able to succeed in the space for or as long as possible, like 50 years down the line?
Do you still live at home?
I still live with my dad, yes.
Focus on building a skill set. Don't even worry about money. Throw money away. Find somewhere where you can get really, really, really good. Go to shitty offers with good coaches. Just find somewhere that's going to be able to build your skill set. Find a really hard offer even and get really, really good. at that hard offer. And like, so like if you don't need money, anybody in here, if you're in a position where you don't need money, focus on a skill set. Build a really, really, really good skill set. You know, spend 2-3 years building a skill set at 18 years old. And all of a sudden when you're 22, when you're looking to like get a house and like actually go somewhere, now you've got a skill set that can make you $1 million.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, Lucas, you don't have to worry about money. You can send money to me, so I'll take care of that.
Yeah, I will, man. I will send you it right now.
Don't worry, don't worry. Mr. Singer.
David, I want to ask you about confidence because you insisted on it several times. And like my question is, how do you tell if someone is not confident, and what do you want to see to say, okay, this is someone who's confident?
Is it safe to say that you're not feeling very confident right now?
Yes, because I get told that a lot, and I'm even working with a life coach to see like what to.
I'm
How
going
to
to tell you the fastest way to get better, and you're going to hate it. I want you to start going out in public, and every time you see somebody that you're attracted to, walk up and say, hey, over and over and over and over again until like it doesn't feel scary anymore. And when you can have that conversation, like I promise you, if you get good at that and then you come back to sales, you're going to see 100 times improvement. Like when I was actually getting into sales, I wasn't very good at dating, and I got really good at dating first. And once I got really good at dating, then I got in sales, and I'm like, oh, this is like way easy. And so like it really is just easy to like get real life experience where like it's bountiful everywhere. I mean, even if you see someone that you think would be a cool friend, you know, you're not attracted, you're not interested in them, but like you'd be friends, walk up and talk to them too. And so just get really comfortable talking to strangers to where like you're confident doing it. And then when you get on these calls, dude, it'll be like the easiest thing you've ever done. And like the hard part with all this is like you probably wanted like some secret and some really easy answer, but they don't exist. Like the thing with sales is that it truly is self-development. And so like you have to go through all the hard, shitty stuff to get there.
Okay.
Outreach for the win. Mr. Andy.
Thanks.
Thank you, Philip. David, do you have any interview questions that you use that you, as far as your knowledge goes, are completely unique to you? I know.
Yeah, my favorite is what's the difference between good and great salespeople? It's one of the easiest ones to weed people out because you'll get a lot of people that say great salespeople are baseline. So like, oh, great salespeople, they hustle, they're coachable, they're competitive, they're this. All of those things are just like basic salespeople. It's not a great salesperson. It's like anyone in sales. So like you can eliminate a lot of the people that are actually high tier just by asking that really simple question.
Thank you.
Mr. Dominic in the flesh.
Thank you, Phil. David, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you all, guys. I have a question for you. So I'm a coach. I have my own community where I help 9-to-5ers to become closers and land amazing opportunities. And I love how did you like put the importance of networking, right? It's really important for them to get great connections because that is opening the doors. Now, should it be structured? Because, for example, should they have a sheet where they're going to like put every contact they make, who is this guy, his Instagram account, WhatsApp? Should it be structured so they can track it and they can actually see how much work are they doing, or should it be like with the flow? So what?
That's hard because I understand why structure would help, but to me at that point it also makes it unauthentic. And if it's unauthentic, people can feel it.
Okay. So you recommend it for them to be like, I just want to network, I just want to meet new people, and constantly being able to push yourself.
I think it's best and easiest that they're not looking for anything. They're just actually going out to meet a bunch of people and like get experiences and create connections. The same way that, you know, I told the last guy to go and talk to people. It's the same thing, but here. And so like if it's not authentic, the connections don't matter.
Okay, but would it help? So I mean, being authentic and being yourself and giving value to the people first is like second part of it, right? It's when you are in the connection and you truly want to like give value first. But what I'm saying is the beginner part. Like, should they track how many connections, how many friendships they make, or just go with the flow and doesn't matter about the numbers?
Yeah.
Just
So I
network as
understand
much.
what you're saying, but like when you're teaching it to other people that don't see it the way that you do, think about how they'll see it. And so like if it becomes something they're tracking and something else that early on when they don't understand the importance, how many
Okay.
people do you think would just reach out to more people because it's what their tracker says and not because it's authentic and it's people they want to know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
That
so
makes
like,
sense.
yeah, so like you see it the correct way, but when you're teaching it to brand new people, how will they see it?
Yeah, they need to have the right perspective. Yeah, understand. Thank you. Thank you very much.
100%.
My take on it will be, nobody asked me by the way, do it both. Keep a list, but also be authentic. So, you know, when you do, and yeah, be casual.
I
Everybody's
would
so
say have people have like 20, 30 conversations without it. And once that happens,
exactly.
you could probably have them start tracking it because they'll gain the proper perspective.
I like it. Mix of both, but the right way. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Justin.
Yo. So hearing Dominic, it just sparked up another question that I actually thought of for a while. Some about the sales managers that I talked to, and coaches I talked to kind of mentioned this about it was the network, right? And I don't want to sound like a bad guy, but it's like, is there like a certain place or certain part of your life where it's like, okay, this person is worth networking with and this person isn't, right? It's
Yeah.
like knowing how to differentiate. Like, do you feel like that's fair? I really want to get kind of perspective. How do you determine if a person is worth networking with in the first place? And you can provide value, they can provide value, compared to someone that that, hey, I might give them a lot of value, but I might not get nothing in return. I just want to get your thoughts on that. Like, how do you kind of determine?
That's hard. It really depends on your time. I mean, like, when I had more time, I helped everybody. I just did. I mean, like, I had a lot of time to give, and because I did that, I helped a ton of people, and that also helped me build what I am now. I mean, like, I'm here because Philip saw me help a bunch of other people, and so like it made sense, right? So like the more people you help, the more opportunities you get. The less time you have, the more you need to be able to sort through what makes sense and what doesn't. But I don't think it's the people. I think it then becomes help with the things that you can help with the most with every single person, and then cut out the things that are like kind of wishy-washy and iffy that you're not so sure about. The more value you provide, the further you get.
Okay. I mean, what I meant by it is like, let's say.
No, I know what you meant. I know what you meant. I'm telling you that like I wouldn't look at it by people.
Okay.
Just like, I don't know if you remember or not, but you and I actually did a role play like 6 months ago when you were just starting. Had I not done that, it probably wouldn't have made a difference. But like you were just starting, and like I could have very easily not done that. So like
We did.
we did, yeah. You were in like a big white marble room at the time. I was closing on Airbnb offer at the time. You were like looking to learn like objection handling or something. I don't remember. It was like I think back in like November or September. But the whole point is like even that gained absolutely nothing for me. But I also got the practice and stuff to do it myself as well. And so like there's always value to be had by giving value.
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember. I don't
All right, you
remember.
posted and did a bunch. You were just
Yeah.
asking to like role play a new script for like a new offer, and I think you like connected with a bunch of people.
Oh, okay, yeah. It was a long time. I don't remember. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that.
Anyway, Mr. Matt.
Yeah, I actually forgot my question now.
Oh yeah.
It's been a long time. Someone else can go.
We have a few more minutes. Do you have a hard stop, David, or?
No, not really. I mean, I don't want to be here too long because I'm on my standing desk, but I'm barefoot.
Nice.
But no hard
guys,
stop.
26 people. Yeah, let's go.
Where can I reach out to you will be the best place to get in touch. I guess, yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, you can drop the link of your community in the chat, man.
I'm gonna put my Instagram in there, and you can get it from there. So I don't have it on hand. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it's in my bio. And it's low ticket. And so like that's something really cool about it is I created it to be really low ticket. It's $47 a month. $47 a month, no matter what, gets you 8 hours of access to me directly through all different topics. And then I also do sometimes I have guest speakers. I'm in the middle of building like a really cool course that kind of covers all of sales. It's not really traditional sales training. I would say it's more of like behind the curtains of like what goes on. So if that's something that you're interested in, it'll be low ticket forever.
Cool stuff. Mr. Matt, finally remember your question.
I remembered, yeah. Now, I know you mentioned that you've not done many like sales training, and you speak more from a psychology perspective. But how would you deal with, or how do you deal with sort of skepticism around the whole online industry as a whole from prospects?
Sure. Let me ask you something. If you were skeptical about something for sure, you thought it was a scam, you heard it might be a scam, would you watch the 1 hour VSL and then show up for a 1 hour call and then say you're skeptical about it? No. Okay. So if it's genuine skepticism, you did something on the call to make them feel that way. If it's not, it's probably just something that they're worried about. They don't want to look stupid to their friends and family. And so they want you to just make them feel better about it before they purchase. So like that's actually probably a buying question that a lot of people like worry about. And so if you can just make them feel calm about it and show that it's all okay, you'll probably get a sale 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, that's a good perspective actually. Never thought of it that way.
Boom. Anything, David, that you wish you knew when you started your journey? Any skill, any tip, or something not to do that comes to your mind right now?
I don't think so. I'll just say the biggest thing in all of it is knowing when you've gotten to your peak at a job. I think lasting loyalty to high ticket offers is what holds a lot of people back. But then the other thing that holds people back is jumping too soon when they don't get it. And so like finding the balance of like going to an offer and hitting your ceiling there, even if you do it really quickly. Let's say your first month, you're like the top performer and they're like, oh, you're probably not going to make more money than this. Then you could leave. But like, don't just leave if you thought it was the right one when you went. So like, you made a commitment to yourself that like this was probably the offer. You should at least give it a month or two and see if it is, because like you chose it. Get better at making better decisions if you don't like what you get on the other side of it.
Makes sense. And where do you see high ticket industry in the next few years?
No idea, man. I mean, I know that it's getting more and more saturated. Being a top 1% performer and being able to carry yourself as a top 1% performer is going to get more and more and more valuable. I think there'll always be space for people to make money here, but I think that we're going to start seeing like the bottom 40 to 50% probably fall out soon. And so like, I think that there's a lot of value right now in networking and getting ahead while you can.
And there's also a lot of people have different opinions. Somebody says first start sales and then do sales training, don't do sales training at all, this and that, like have a mentor, don't have a mentor. Like, what's your take on it?
So sales training is good, but there's only one way to view sales training, in my opinion. You should already know how you want to sell. Once you know how you want to sell, find the person that's the best at that and then hire that person. Don't just hire someone because they're good, because then it makes it unauthentic for you. If you don't like objection handling and you're not super confident and you don't like solving problems, don't go to Bill Walsh. If you want us to go in the discovery, go to someone that works in the discovery. If you want, you know what I'm saying? It's like sales training is good when it's authentic and it works for you. It does not work for everybody across the board. That's why even the best sales trainers in the world have people that fail.
Great stuff. And tell me, how do you motivate your team now that you're a manager?
Praise, man. I always just set expectations in the beginning that we're a high performance team. And when people do what they should, I mean, like, it's a lot of praise, not punishment. If you can't do what you say you're going to do, you don't belong on a high performance team. You won't be there very long. And so, like, to me, it's just a lot of accountability across the board. Everybody's accountable for what they said they're going to do. You want to be accountable because you want to be accountable to the person next to you so that they're accountable to you. When everybody does that, it's a super high performing team that makes a lot of money. When you can get everybody on board with that and you have one person that's not good, it's very easy to know that and to replace them. And so, like, to me, it's always just like being the person you say that you are. And if you're that person, you'll make more money and you belong on high performing teams. So like the motivation is in getting people that want to be the best versions of themselves and then holding myself to the same standard.
Great. Any last questions? Raise your hand if you have. Do you have anything to say? Oh, Justin, let's hear it.
Okay. I don't know if I can. I'm just testing my luck here. I don't know. Well, in this case, do you have any advice? It's gonna be a bit off topic. Any advice? Because Valentine's Day is around the corner. You know, what's your? I heard you're good at dating. You're good at dating. But you gotta get good at dating. Get good at sales. Any advice on that end you could provide?
Dating?
Yeah.
Treat it like a sale, man, and be yourself. Authenticity and confidence is really important. Just be confident and add value, man. A great boyfriend, great partner adds value to their partner's life. Legitimate value, by the way. You know, if you don't have anything to give, and I don't mean like give money or anything like that. I mean, be adventurous, take them on cool trips, do cool things, you know. Add a lot of value, be yourself, be authentic, and like that's literally 80% of that. And keep yourself in good shape.
Yeah.
That's important too.
Appreciate it. Yeah, a bit of a funny question, but no, I was just curious to get your thoughts.
Yeah, man. Just in sales, you're looking to be top 1%. Look to be top 1% in your entire life, and you won't have those problems anymore.
Awesome, I appreciate it.
Iron sharpens iron. So you'll have the recording in the group, guys, in Telegram, WhatsApp, also on the YouTube. David, anything else for the end? Any quote, something, some message? People watching this.
No, I think leaving it at be top 1% in everything is like that's a good way to leave it off. If you want to be top 1% in anything, do it in everything.
Boom, mic drop. Thank you so much, brother, for your time.
Yeah,
Hope everyone enjoyed this.
Thanks for having me.
And let's stay in touch. You have David's IG in the bottom. Also, leave it in the description, in the chat. You can learn a lot. So if you use only a few things that you learned today, believe me, you'll improve a lot. I wish everyone happy closing and see you soon. Take care.
See you guys.